Rabbi Bernard Mandelbaum. I am President Emeritus of the Jewish Theological Seminary and former professor on its faculty. I am taking this opportunity to talk about probably one of the most distressing human problems, which I wrote about in a book called You Are Not Alone, The Conquest of Loneliness. The title itself suggests two things. One, it's actually expressed by a grandmother of mine who lived with one of her children, and if we'd call up and she answered the phone, I would say to her, Bubby, which is the Yiddish for grandma, are you alone? And her answer was, keinmal nicht allein, never alone. Now, not every one of us has this sense of God's presence to feel that we're always with him. But if it isn't God, there have to be some values to occupy a person's life if he's not to feel loneliness, he or she is not to feel loneliness. And that's what I talk about in this book. But there's another sense to the title. You are not alone in the sense that you're not alone in feeling loneliness, because a lot of people, a great many people feel that. And I decided to write about it because of my own feeling of loneliness after I lost my late wife. Very personally about what I went through, what I consider to be the nature of loneliness. There's an anonymous statement with which I begin the first chapter, where it asks the question, do you recognize yourself? That is, do you recognize the nature of your loneliness? And this anonymous source says, he who overcomes loneliness overcomes his greatest enemy. As I say, there are various forms of loneliness, and I've categorized at least four. One, there's a gnawing, almost subliminal sense of despondency. The pain is bearable, it just doesn't seem right. Two, a general feeling of impatience and tendency to fly off the handle. You may not be content with what life seems to have dealt out to you. There's no companionship or friendship to speak of. Your self-critical eye is constantly seeking situations to prove to you how unworthy you are, to keep you enslaved to loneliness. Are you as critical of your acquaintances as you are of yourself? If this is the case, then you are in trouble. The next chapter deals with insights into loneliness from the Bible. Quote from Genesis, it is not good for man to be alone. Or from the Mishnah, developed from the Talmud, Hillel teaches, do not withdraw from the community. I also feel that I learned a lot about dispelling the clouds of loneliness from the meaning of the Sabbath day. More than the Jews protect or observe the Sabbath protects the Jews. Because actually, the Sabbath is not a day of don'ts. Don't work, don't watch television, don't shop, don't drive your car. When properly observed, the Sabbath actually is a series of do's. Do spend time with your family. Do read, study, reflect. Do spend time at worship. It means you should occupy time during the day, not with other worldly concerns, but rather by calling on your own inner resources to live with meaning here on earth. So the Sabbath is a great experience in conquering loneliness. The Talmud says there are years which are filled with life and the years that are empty of life. And a year is an accumulation of moments. The challenge, therefore, is to make moments meaningful. And the single step, I say, is the beginning of 10 major steps that a person can take in dealing with loneliness. One, identify, recognize, and face loneliness and its nuances for what they are. Don't deny it. Don't push it under a rug. Don't fail to own up to the feeling that you're just lonely. You have to do something about it. Two, don't get bogged down on little things. Remember the larger goal. If something's disturbing you, don't think that it's the end of your life and that's going to be with you all the time. He who lets the small things of life bind him leaves the great behind him. 4, force yourself to do things. Don't isolate yourself. If you feel low, go out, seek people. Even if you find it uncomfortable or awkward, don't give up. Just look for others, and being in the presence of others will be helpful. Remember that each person is a partner in God in making his or her life, the world, an experience of love, purpose, and fulfillment. You've been given the freedom and power, as we're told in the book of Deuteronomy, to choose life. Add years to your life by giving direction to your daily existence. The concluding chapter has 4 thoughts, quotations from different people, give us insight into loneliness. These are from notes that I gathered while preparing the first part of the book. Dag Hammarskjöld, pray that your loneliness may spur you into finding something to live for, great enough to die for. From John F. Kennedy, man can be as big as he wants. No problem of human destiny is beyond human beings. You are not alone. The conquest of loneliness. All of us are capable to rise to moments of achievement and creativity. We must make the efforts.